Alongside Graham DeLaet and Bob Weeks, guys, very challenging conditions during the third round of the U.S. Open, but the player who seemed unstoppable, Bryson DeChambeau, 3 under 67, 3-shot lead. Graham, how impressive was this run?
It was like he was playing a different golf course, in all honesty. I mean, the way that he drove the golf ball today, so far, he hit 8 of 14 fairways. I mean, for how long he's hitting it on these firm fairways, that's very impressive. Was able to attack the golf course. A golf course that everybody else is playing super defensive, and rightfully so. And when he did miss, his short game was bailing him out, sometimes to chip in or to knock in range, kick in range. And the times that he did have to make the putts, he was doing that with his putter. So every aspect of his game really firing on all cylinders, and the only player in the field so far to shoot under par each of the 3 rounds.
I thought he got some good breaks too, which you have to when you're shooting this well. You know, he did get in some good positions off the tee when he missed into this native areas. He always had a shot that he could play forward, obviously not right at the greens, but when he did miss the greens, he got up and down 5 times. That's almost unheard of, and as you said, the putter was working well, and they weren't all just little gimme putts. Some of them were big breaking 10-footers, 12-footers. So every part of the game, as you said, is working for him. And let's not forget, this guy has been playing pretty well all year. Tied for 6 at the Masters, runner-up at the PGA Championship. I mean, it's not like he's coming in here sort of cold that we don't see. And the other part I find really interesting right now is how the crowd's kind of taking to him. Like, they really seem to be enjoying him. He seems to be playing the part of a guy wearing the white hat instead of the dark hat that he's had on for so many years. And I don't know if it's real or not, but it's certainly be working. And have the fans on your side at this tournament, I think, is a big help.
Yeah, and the only other thing you didn't mention there is he's a past U.S. Open champion too, so he knows how to get it done here. His game looks good, and you got to expect him to continue to keep firing like this.
Yeah, he is one of only 4 players who has finished in the top 10 each of the first 2 majors so far this season. Now, I mentioned the tough conditions. Graham, we saw some carnage out there, especially in the 13th hole.
Yeah, that 13th hole was brutal. That pin today, you know, in almost back-to-back groups. Maybe there was a couple of groups in between, but Tony Finau, short of the green, putts it into the back bunker, hits a bunker shot, rolls back to where he hit his 3rd shot from, wasn't able to get up and down triple. Ludwig Oberg, a couple groups later, did the exact same thing, except he pitched it into the back bunker, hit that bunker shot at the same place, didn't get up and down triple. The 9th hole, I saw a lot of carnage going back and forth, and you got to expect there's going to be a couple pins tomorrow that's the same sort of thing. It takes a little bit of luck sometimes to be on the right side of that. There's strategy involved, and there's execution involved at the same time.
I mean, we thought at one point that Bryson was going to have a real big lead, and then all of a sudden he makes a double, right? I mean, there's lots of opportunities out there. You look at Corey Connors, made an eagle in a drivable par 4 3rd hole, but then he made a bunch of bogeys later on that round. So anything can happen at any time.
Yeah, and the bogeys just add up so quickly here. It seems like unless you're hitting those pitch shots real close, you're forced to make those 8 to 12 foot putts for par, and that's not sustainable. And eventually the bogeys start adding up, and it happens really quickly.
Bob, you mentioned Corey Connors. He's T9 heading into the final round. Taylor Pendrith is T12. Graham, what do both of these Canadians have to do to make a legitimate move come Sunday?
Yeah, if they want a chance to actually win this golf tournament, they have to get off to a great start. The 3rd hole and the 5th hole especially, those are the birdie holes on the front 9, but you have to survive 2, 4, and 6. The 3 of the hardest holes on the golf course, 8 as well. Get through that front 9 in 2 or 3 under par, and then put the pedal down on the back 9. And you probably have to have Bryson DeChambeau come back to the field as well, because I mean, if you think legitimately for those guys to get to 5 or 6 under, they got to shoot 6 or 7 under par. That's a pretty tall task on this golf course, so you're going to need the leader to come back.
And there's also the race within the race for these 2 guys for the Olympic spots. Both of them, first of all, both of them walked off the golf course thinking that they had played pretty well. They were even and 1 over for the day, so it shows you what a good round is like. Both of them looked like they were pretty exhausted by the end of it too. Mentally, you really have to stay focused. But that Olympic thing is something they're trying not to think about. Taylor is on the outside. He has to finish 3rd or better to get an Olympic spot. Corey Connors, though, if he's tied for 11th or better, he will go back to the Olympics for the 2nd time, and Adam Hadwin will be the guy who gets bumped. It's right there. He's not thinking about it, though. He said he will, but I bet you, maybe not during the round, but I bet you tonight and before he tees off, he might be thinking about it.
Yeah, and to make your point about the difficulty of the golf course, only 7 scores under par today.
And Corey Connors only hit 8 greens in regulation in round 3, which was definitely different for him. Okay, guys, Bryson DeChambeau has a 3-shot lead. As we look ahead to Sunday, we're expecting it to be hot. We're expecting it to be firm, fast. If not Bryson, who's winning this thing?
Well, I think you can look down the leaderboard, and anybody who's under par has a chance. Once you get to those even pars, if you're 7 strokes back, that's a long ways. You're going to need some help in the leaders, but I mean, Rory McIlroy is the obvious choice. He's 4 under par, he's 3 strokes back. That can be erased in 1 hole out here, so he'd be my pick.
Yeah, I think if he can get the putter just a touch warmer, he's got a really good chance. He seemed to be just lipping out a lot of putts out there, and you could see he was getting a little bit frustrated. But, I mean, he's had so many good close finishes. He was runner-up in this tournament a year ago, and it's oftentimes just, as Graham was saying, it's just one shot, one break, you know, one putt that stays up on there and up on one of these greens instead of rolling back. So I like him, and if it's not him, then I think maybe Ludwig Åberg. You know, he had one bad hole that really cost him, but other than that, he's played pretty good golf.
Yeah, he sure has.
Well, 15 players began the day under par. As we head into the final round, only 8 players are in red numbers.